Amber, welcome to the Retail Whore Podcast.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm so excited to be here.
I love your story. You reached out because we started doing an open call and said, send in your store, like, because everybody has a story, and you were one of our first people that reached out, and I love your story already. So why don't, before we get into it, give everybody a introduction to yourself and your brands.
Yeah, so I did. I jumped right in on that open call. I think it was the day you released the podcast or the open call. I said, "Oh, I need to be on here." So I am Amber Baker. I'm a candle maker, small business owner. So the candle brand started 5 years ago. We're just having our 5 year anniversary this year, which is really exciting. But that turned into having the store Boho Bungalow. So now I have a retail storefront that came about from the candle brand,
And your candle
getting a
brand is
Sandy Bottom Candle Co.
okay. So let's start with how you started doing the candles. What did you do before you started this candle? Because you're super young. So like to have two businesses, I shouldn't ask you, but how old are you?
Yeah, no, I am 34.
So you're a baby.
Thank you. No, so before the candles, I was working in the restaurant industry
Hmm.
for about 10 years. So I did every position there: hostess, server, management. And I just kind of grew out of it. And I had been looking for something. So I went back to school to be a nurse. And in my first semester, I realized I couldn't work and do schooling. It was too much. So I was on a vacation with my best friend and we were on the beach. I had made candles before just for friends and family, for my own to burn, cleaner burning candles. And I was sitting on the beach and I thought, why not? Why not give this a shot to try to make a side hustle? You
Yeah.
know, not really like a full blown business, but why not just try it? And so I got home from that vacation and I did a deep dive. I was researching everything. I already knew how to make them, but not on the scale and production of what a business would be to sell them. So I came up with Sandy Bottom Candle Co. because in the time I was making them as a hobby, we were cutting wine bottles. You know how like rewind candles?
Hmm.
So I was cutting wine bottles. We're in the restaurant industry, bartending. So we
Ah,
had all these wine bottles. Well, the bottom of the wine bottle had an indentation in it, and I couldn't ever get the wick to stay on top of it, centered. So we added sand to the bottom of it just to
hmm,
keep it level.
brilliant.
So then years later, when I was like, why not try this? We did a clear vessel with the sand at the bottom because it's unique, it's different, it's totally us. And so Sandy Bottom Candle was born.
So, okay, your restaurant, take me back to that because I always say this. I talked to somebody else that was also in the restaurant business. I feel like because I went through the restaurant business as well, like I went from being a hostess to a waitress to a bartender. And I honestly feel like that was probably the best education for customer service because you come up with every situation that could possibly happen. And what I think for me was the best was customer service because like constantly something's late, something I was always like, let me bring you a free dessert. I brought this for you. It was like the greatest way to show customer service. And it's still that people pleasing part is still part of who I am. And it's all thanks to the restaurant industry.
I always say that everyone should go through the restaurant industry for a time period because you learn so many life lessons. Customer service, like you said, huge. And how to balance everything too.
Yeah.
And
Did
people skills.
did you how long so you were there for 10 years? Like what
Yeah.
were you the same restaurant for the 10 years?
Yeah.
Wow, what
Yeah,
kind of restaurant?
same restaurant. They had different locations. They kept scaling and building new ones. So I would go in and, you know, help open things and yeah, do every position. So
Were you okay, so take me now to you decided to start your business. Are you when you started Sandy Bottom, were you still thinking you were going to be a nurse and staying and doing that, or did you just stay with the restaurant because you were getting the bottles from the restaurant? So were you still there as well?
Yeah, so I was still at the restaurant when I started the candles, but my hopes was that the candles would take the restaurant's place for income. So I would do markets and things and grow it and go back to nursing school. Well, it just took off, and I said, I'm not going back to nursing school because this is where I'm meant to be. So it kind of all fell into place to allow me to quit the restaurant. I stayed there for 2 years when I was doing the business because I started in wholesale with the candles right away after I had done like 2 markets and
Wow.
like, yeah, just locally. And they just loved it. So then I started doing markets when I went full time because I had more free time. And I met so many people through that and learned so many lessons through the market world as well.
So when you did wholesale, was it just local or did you, expand out and get a rep or like, because that's, I mean, it's one thing to have a candle line and you're selling at pop-ups and whatnot, but then you take it to a wholesale level and it's a whole other game because now you have to obviously package it or have certain, specs on it. I'm guessing like, do not leave a candle unattended or whatever the stickers
Yeah.
have on it. And then, how did you go about that?
So I had my favorite store in the area. So we're a coastal town, Ocean City, Maryland.
Hmm?
There's lots of boutiques, and I had one favorite store that I shopped in for the past few years, and I just loved it. And I thought, if I could get in there, it would just be amazing. Just the one store. So I pitched to her, and she was like, yes, let's do it. And that store is still buying, and it's still one of
Wow.
my number one buyers today. And so from there, then I realized I could pitch other stores. So I just started going in to the stores that I shopped that I thought were a good fit, talking to the owners, the buyers, giving them information, and they loved it because everyone loves supporting local here.
Yeah. And especially I think now, I mean, obviously with tariffs, it's like I'd said to somebody, it's horrible what our industry is going through, but the hope is, at least my hope is that it will make buyers look to finding locally made goods where they're not going to have that. And that's, I think there's always that product out there, but I think now it's going to be like everyone's really going to need to be finding these products.
Even more so. And I was really happy that I made the decision 5 years ago to start out with all USA made supplies. So,
Do
because a lot of it, comes from China and people don't realize that, even if it's made here or assembled here. So I was thankful that I've not been affected with tariffs yet just because they are all US made.
Are you still doing the wine bottles?
No. So that was just when it was kind of a hobby.
Uh-huh.
And then when I changed over to the business, I have a candle right here so I could
Good.
show
Thank
you.
you. Oh, cute little shape.
Yeah, so it's like an apothecary jar. We do sand at the bottom, 100% soy wax, phthalate-free fragrance, and then the crackling wood wick.
I love crackling wood wicks. I don't know
Yes,
what
they're
it
my
is.
favorite all I use.
So all of your, even your jars coming out of the US?
Yes.
That's amazing because that's one thing. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying, like even though it is locally made, the jar may came from China or the wick may have to come from China or whatnot. So the merchant of the vendors are having to build that cost into their product, but the retailers aren't going to get hit with the tariff after, which is great.
Right. Yeah.
So how big is the line, and how many retail accounts do you have now?
So I have about 35 retail accounts,
Wow.
mostly local. But this year, I'm really trying to expand it. I've just updated our labels and our look a little bit with the wood lid. They used to come in boxes without a lid. So we've kind of revamped them to go with any boutique, mostly coastal inspired, but they're neutral colors, kind of boho chic. Yeah, so the 30 accounts, we're expanding on Fair. I just updated all of that so retailers can buy us there.
That's amazing. So, okay, you have 30 vendors or 30 retailers in Maryland. Are you, when you branch out, branching out is obviously with Fair. Are you going to look to having a rep? And when this starts to like, if you start to blow up, which I'm assuming you will start to really blow up, like what, how are you balancing both? Because we're going to get into the store conversation in a second, but how are you
Yeah.
balancing both?
Yeah, so it is a lot, and I'm looking to hire, but I've been very thankful with my other half, Adam. He is the biggest supporter of me, and he works from home, so he's able to like step in if he needs to cover the store and I go to an event. And then, family around. My sister worked for me last summer. She's in Florida in Tampa now at school, but I was lucky to have her all last summer to work this store
Yeah.
while because I'm delivering orders locally, like hand delivering them, like packing them in my car and
Wow,
taking them.
that's
Yeah.
impressive.
So that was another plus why, local retailers were able to buy because I said, free delivery, I'm bringing them to you. And they sold. But yeah, balance. I don't have any kids. This is my full responsibility. So, and I love it. I'm obsessed with it. So
I
I
love
work.
I love a good hustle. It's something that and again, I still think it's part of it is restaurant industry is like that hustle and that thriving off of that energy of there's like, oh, it's always going. There's no
Yeah.
downtime.
The work ethic from the restaurant, yes, it is like go, go, go until you can't go anymore, which I did a few times.
Yeah.
So I'm creating a little bit of balance for myself, like try to leave at 5, even if I'm working from home a little bit later, but I'm at home and can do different tasks while I'm there and relax a little bit.
That's still working. I'll just let you know.
But
So
like I said, I'm obsessed.
So tell me, you decided it was at 5 years in 2023, you opened your store, Boho Bungalow. Tell me about how that came about, because it's one thing to do a wholesale, but then, taking on a brick and mortar and then having the capital behind it to fill it. So tell us a little bit about that. How big is the store as well when you tell us about it?
Yeah, so let me say that I had no plans of opening a retail storefront. People ask me, my retailers, they're like, when are you going to open a store? I'm like, I'm definitely not. I was in the search for a space for production to make the candles, months and months and months, and nothing was just right. So finally, one of the girls that I knew had a space. She had like a little kids party store. She actually sold my candles there as well. So she reached out and said she was leaving the space. If I was interested, let her know. And I did, and it wasn't really the right timing. I was kind of on the fence about it. It was in the off season here. And I said, am I going to take this risk? And they just made it so simple for me to say yes. It was like an offer I could not refuse.
Wow.
And it came with a retail storefront because she had built the cash wrap, displays, the flooring, like had built it all out. And so it was ready for retail.
Wow.
So I moved in, I got the production all set up in like the back of house, I call it. That's the candle factory. And then up front, so the whole space is 1,300 square feet. And I would say a quarter of it is the storefront.
Okay.
So it was a few months before I had even thought about opening this store because in my lease, I didn't have to. A lot of places require you to utilize
So
this.
for the first couple of months, you just had the back part done, and then what was sitting in the front? Did you cover up the windows, or did you just leave it empty, or how did you? Because I know that's always one of those things where people walk by and it's like, what's in there?
Right. And people were asking. um, I just left it empty. I was using it for just like product photography and whatnot, a little bit of storage. Um, but then I decided that I had met so many local vendors in the area through doing markets that had handmade, hand painted, beautiful, beautiful pieces for home decor, for gifting. And so I said, let's showcase their work. Let's start there. Also, my mother in law and her husband are artists. Like they're in the medical field full time, but they love to create on the weekends. And so I'm very lucky with that. So they have made so many pieces for the store, like incredible work. And so that kind of inspired me too. So we carry their decor and a lot of local artists' work, like pottery, woodworking,
Your
some
candles, obviously.
crochet, our candles, yes, of course.
Okay, so I have so many questions. Like, what? Did they leave? So the previous tenant created the cash wrap, and did she also create the shelving? Like, did you have any fixtures to create, or did you just walk into, turnkey situation?
So I bought a couple of her shelving displays from her. And then my father in law, who is in woodworking, he was able to build all of my displays. I
Wow.
found one piece on Facebook Marketplace, and it was the coolest piece. It was Ocean City Boardwalk when they redid the boardwalk. So it was made out of the old pieces, which is
Wow.
like a history piece. So I had to have that. But yeah, very, very lucky. And like the stars just aligned for this to be what it is. So I
Did
couldn't say no.
did some of the vendors are you buying their products outright, or are you doing consignment, or how are you doing with this with, or did you have to come up with the capital to buy all their products?
Yeah, it's a mix of everything. At first, it was, only consignment for the local vendors. And then I shopped a little bit on Fair and now through a rep as well. So it's a mix of all of it.
I love. So tell me some of your departments that you sell along with your candles and handmade items and artist pieces.
So a lot of home and gift. We have, little toffees and mouth party caramels. They're in Maryland as well. Um, Little cocktail mixes. We have artwork, tea towels, charcuterie. I have a little charcuterie section,
Hmm.
which made me so happy. That was like the display that I was like, okay, I can do this.
So you're doing your own merchandising, obviously.
Yes. And so that's how I found you because I had no clue what I was doing opening this store. I said, this has to look really good. And like, I know how to merchandise my candles, but other than that, it is hard.
Yeah. I love that. So that's how you found me or the podcast?
Both.
Both.
Because I was looking for inspiration and instruction of
I
how
love
to make
that.
displays. And that's when I said, oh, she's my girl.
Oh, I love that. And that's, I mean, it's like such a fun thing for me to hear when people have seen them, like seen merchandising and how it's helped or whatnot. It's like, I wish I could see your store right now. Actually, can you take us into your store since you're sitting in the back room?
I can. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Ready for who's watching? If you're in the car
So,
listening, I will try and explain as best as possible what we're looking at.
okay, so let's go to the front. And then I'll so this is like the front room. So we have a grid wall over there. We
Love
have some artist pieces painted, some surfboard puzzles, some doggy treats.
so
And then forgive me because my displays are up here, but I'm re-merchandising today actually. So it's a little bare.
cute.
But this was like
Oh,
our garden section for spring. So I have some kokedama kits, some
some white kits?
kokedama kits. It's like a Japanese succulent
The ball.
planter kit. Yeah, the ball.
My technical. I love the reclaimed wood bookcase. Is that
Yeah, so this is the Ocean City
wow, that's great. I love the
boardwalk.
history to it.
So the watercolor kits, everybody loves those.
Are those also local?
They're not, it's Emily Leck's studio
Okay, great.
watercolor workbook. So I purchased those through wholesale. And then
Your store's
this is
about
our front.
250 square feet, it looks like.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
I
it's,
thought it was very small at first, and then you start adding displays.
and then you start filling it up, and it's all of a sudden like, oh my God, I need more, I need more.
Right. So
That's
this is like our
great. Is that
charcuterie
the
section.
pipe, the pipe and flange? Is that pipe and flange fixtures?
Yes, the
Did those
pipe
come
shelving.
with it? Is that what she had built out?
It's not. We built those.
Ah, the father-in-law.
Yes,
Good
yes.
job, father-in-law.
And then this is the second room you walk through. So here is my candle shelving. So
Ah,
this is the shelf that I bought from her. She just had all white. So I thought I'll keep one at least for the candles, and then we made everything else.
so it's interesting. Tell me this because it's your candle line, but your candle line, you have to go further into the store and see it and to buy it. How was that a strategic decision, or is that just because you didn't want to compete with all your neighbors or
Right. So the decision to make this store name Boho Bungalow was because I have so many retailers here locally. And so I didn't want to take away. I was really afraid of that
yeah.
opening the store. And because there's going to be a lot more, there's a lot more in here than candles.
Mhm.
And so I wanted it to kind of stand on its own.
Without having candle thing.
So we did that, but it's worked out. It hasn't taken away any business from any of our local vendors. And in fact, I have the same shoppers and they just love to support all the stores.
That's fantastic. How close is your closest vendor or your close as a wholesaler? How close is your closest retailer to your retail space? Say that
To
part.
us, probably about 5 miles.
Okay, so that's, I mean, in standard wholesale practices, if you have a zip code protection, usually it's like 1 or 2 miles. So that's very fair. I mean, I
Yeah.
honestly, as a merchandiser and as a consultant, I would sway you to put some of your candles up front, like your number one scent up front or something, and have it as
Yeah.
a draw for them to come in the back. But obviously it's working. But I'm always like, it's your store, like your candles, but it's very respectful that you want to do that for your store, your wholesale retailers.
Yeah, and I do put them up front, and I have a sign on the window that says, Sandy Bottom Candle Co. It smells good in here. And when they walk in, they can smell it. So they're like, what is that smell? What are you burning? And so that brings them right to the candles.
So for the retailers, since there's a ton of retailers listening, and then for someone that would like to purchase it, why don't you talk a little bit about your product?
Okay, yeah. So we're Sandy Bottom Candle Co. And like I said, we do our signature sand at the bottom. It's beach sand. And I found that it actually protects the vessel and your surface. And then you don't have any wasted wax at the bottom. So it burns right down to it and then it just kind of snuffs out. And you can still clean out your jar and reuse it. We use 100% soy wax, phthalate free fragrance that's blended with essential oils. So clean burning, minimal soot, just keep your wick trimmed.
How many
The
fragrances?
crackling, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry to interrupt. How many fragrances?
Oh, so we have a core collection that is 6 different scents. And then we have our summer collection, which is an additional 5. And we do seasonal. So I'll have a fall line and a winter line that all do really, really well. But our core collection, we do our crush line. So we have grapefruit crush, lemon crush, orange crush. And
Cute.
that's like the Maryland drink,
Mm.
which makes sense. Yeah. Sea salt and rose, ocean breeze, and Caribbean teakwood. So very coastal.
Mm.
And then our summer line is more vacation tropical with your coconut sunset chaser I have right now. I'm obsessed with sandalwood, coconut, and amorous.
Hmm.
So it's a little
I'm
warm
obsessed with
coconut.
coconut. Coconut in the summer is like my favorite. There's a candle line that somebody he came out of anthropology with me. His name is John, and he was the head of all of display coordinators, and he created a candle line called I know I'm gonna forget it, but he has a scent that is exactly, I think exactly is the old Band de Soleil. It is amazing. I'm obsessed with like that suntan smell, and it smells like, there's like surf
Yeah.
wax smell, and oh, I love it.
I love blending scents. It's my favorite thing to do.
I would have a raging headache from doing that.
I love it.
So tell me a little bit about with your seasons, like when is high season and how long have you, so you've been there 2023, so 2 years. So, how much, because seasonal stores, I think it sometimes can be a challenge when it's off season about keeping that customer. Do you have a lot of like local customers that continue to come in and support? And what's the difference of like how many people come in the door from on season to off season?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we're in a very seasonal area in general. So, I'm in Ocean Pines, which is right outside of Ocean City. So, Ocean City is like summertime season is their high. We have more year-round customers. So, our like dead season is January and February, of course. So, I close for all of January.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And then open on the weekends in February. Our high season is basically June through December, really.
Wow.
We do great at Christmas time because it's my favorite. That's when we opened the store was Black Friday, the first time. So that was amazing. And I love to decorate the store with all the greenery. And we do traditional, deep red and green with kind of a vintage style almost ornaments.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I love that. But our summer season is really good too because a lot of people vacation or have homes here that they're only here in the summer.
Did you deciding when you decided to close for January, because I think that's like every retailer's dream is like, oh my God, I'm closing the doors in January. But when you decided to do that and only open Saturdays and Sundays in February, was that based on you being open and realizing, okay, no one's coming in, or is that based on like basically what your neighbors and friends, your other retailers that do most of them do that? Is that the norm?
So it's not really the norm here in Ocean City, definitely, because they are a summer seasonal, so they will open in, May or April.
Wow. I can't
But
imagine.
I know I don't know how they do it. But I decided because I went into it and we, hit the gas from October basically through November and got this store ready to open. So I was only thinking about Christmas the first year. So when January rolled around, I said, I haven't bought. I don't know how to flip the store and make it look great. So we're going to close.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I did. And I think it was the best decision because January is so slow here.
Yeah.
People are, going to Florida for the winter and they're done shopping, at least in our area. So that was definitely a good call. And I will continue to close in January because after the holiday season, I need that break.
I know. I think everybody does, but depending on what your overhead is, I think that's not even an option. But it's like it's lovely that you have that ability because, like I said, I think every retailer listening is probably like, "Oh my God, I wish I could do that." But overhead if your overhead is so big and you have inventory you still need to sell, that's like a challenge for most retailers. So you are very lucky.
Absolutely. Well, the only reason is because the candle side. So I'm still doing, the wholesale and some markets in January. It's just that the storefront is closed, and that's the only reason that I'm that I can do that, that I can close in January.
Are you still doing the markets even when you're in high season?
Yes. So I'm not doing them this summer. I haven't booked anything after this month just because it's so hot out. Candles melt.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for me in the summer. I want to focus on the storefront and growing my wholesale. And then I will start back up again in the fall and winter because they're so good during the holiday season. And I love getting out and about in the community. And that is also a way to market people to the store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How, who is running your store when you are, when you're doing the markets?
So Adam, my other half, he runs the store when I'm not here, or he does the market. And I'm actually hiring a woman. She's going to come in the end of June, so that will be really helpful.
It's a true story of hustle. I'll tell you, it's like the fact that you're doing it all and doing wholesale and retail. Are you with the shows are coming up in June and July and I think the beginning of August, all the wholesale shows come up. Are you, now that you are a retailer, will you be doing any of the gift shows as a buyer?
So I haven't scheduled any yet, but I would love to go to a few, and I need to walk a couple because I'm thinking on both sides, buying and selling, that I want to do the Surf Expo in January
Yeah, that's a good
because I
point.
think, yeah, a lot of my buyers are going to be there for candles, but also for me to buy for the store. That's really the only one on my radar right now, but there's some smaller local shows around here. There's a couple I'm going to do in Ocean City at the convention center.
Well, okay, so where, because I'm totally geographically challenged. Are you closer to Atlanta or Dallas?
Atlanta.
Okay.
So we're in the north.
So I would
In
highly
there.
suggest going and doing and walking because the smaller circuit shows are great, but it doesn't give you a real gauge on what like the big time shows are like. Like Atlanta is one of the biggest shows. And because they have temps and because they have showrooms that are open year round, it would be really good for you to go walk that because the temps are amazing because it's, they're only temporary. They don't have they're some have established showrooms, but for the most part, they are all just temporary. They're renting. It'd be interesting to see if you liked that space to do that, but also to look at showrooms like showrooms that are open all year long that have road reps that take your product out and like really like get you out there.
Yes. So I have been on TikTok when um, the gift show comes around in Atlanta,
Mhm.
and I follow everyone because I'm trying to see it through their lens
Yeah.
online. And it is my dream to go there. So what would you say, when is a good time to go walk the show?
Well, Atlanta, so the shows happen, Dallas is the first one that happens, then it's Atlanta, then it's Las Vegas, and then New York now, and then in between sprinkled there's Seattle, there's Minneapolis, there's other smaller shows as well, but the big guys. So I I would always go like you want to go be there the first day of the show, at least the day of the show, temps open. And it's such a big show. I would love to say just go fly in, fly out in a couple days, but it is a I mean, Atlanta building itself, there's three campuses and then then there's temps which is in one of the campuses on a lower floor, but it is a lot of walking and you could hit the big like main gift floors that have the most. You could hit those, but it will realistically take you 2 days. But the education you'll get out of seeing how the other wholesalers are doing it and what they're doing, price points and all the things, like it will give you a really good education. And then not to mention the amazing products that are there as a buyer because
Right.
they're are they have a I think they have a handmade section, which a lot of it is locally made, like handmade items. I think it's a handmade section, which is all 90% of it, I believe, I may be wrong, but is out of, the States. And if
That's
shows are
cool.
smart this year, they're going to be grouping them together like that. But
Right.
it's an amazing, it's so inspiring to see just how they display it. That alone is super inspiring. And like to take it back to your store, and that's what a lot of retailers go for, is not only seeing, what products are new, but to get inspired on like how to display different things and just seeing. But it is so inspiring. But because you do both, I think it would be great for you as well, just to see what else is out there, how are the people are doing it, price points, and if you are thinking of expanding even further out, as wholesale.
Absolutely. And I have been watching Atlanta, especially for a long time, but that's a big trip.
Yeah,
But I do want to go. So I'm going to put it on my list because, like you said, inspiration and seeing how everyone does it. I would love to go walk that show with my family, just see what's there,
it,
map it out, and go.
I highly recommend, not just because I worked there at times, but as when I was a buyer and I had my own stores, it was always my favorite show to go to. It was amazing.
Yes. Okay. I need to go. You're right.
You got summer coming up. So do you have any big plans for your store coming into the busy season, which is we're about a month away from it, if it hasn't already started?
Yes, it is definitely starting. The weather is warming up. It's in the 70s and people are getting out and about.
Hmm.
So we have a birthday party coming up for Sandy Bottom Candles at the store on May 15th. So it's in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce here. It's a business after hours event. So it'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. It's a Thursday evening. We're going to do some charcuterie, some, wine, prosecco, some sweet treats. So hopefully a lot of people will come out and celebrate us. 5 years is a huge milestone and I'm super excited about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have that and just bringing in some new local vendors. I've had
They
my
come
eye
to you, or do you have to go seek them out?
on both. Both. Yeah. So I knew a few core people that I wanted to have in the store initially. Lisa does some really great pottery. It's called Delaware Bake Clay.
Mm.
And then, of course, my family's work. And there's just some artists that I meet at different markets. There's one who does paint, she does watercoloring and all kinds of prints. And she started doing them on tea towels and note cards and thank you cards. So we brought her in this week.
Right.
Yeah.
Any advice to retailers that are listening, or somebody that does not have a store yet that's thinking about it? Any advice on how to go about finding locally made goods?
Yes. Finding locally made goods. You want to go to any festival, any little market, and just walk around, see what they have. That's the best way I know store owners here do it. We have a spring fest in Ocean City and a sun fest. So there's one in the spring and one in the fall. And a lot of retailers just go there to see what handmade goods they have and if they can bring them on. Because you might find one, that you really, really love and that can work for years to come.
I love that idea. My old boss, when I had stores at Fred Siegel, we'd go to the gift shows, and I think a lot of buyers, like especially established stores, we'll look at a booth or a showroom and it's like off the face, just go, not for me, and walk on. And my old boss, and I've told this story on the podcast before, is like my old boss would drag me in like every single one of these rinky dink showrooms that I personally would had already like cast it off as like, it's not us. He's like, you
Right.
never know what you're gonna find. Like you really don't. And if you find the one thing,
Yeah.
that's the pet rock for the season. And it's like, It's true. You always find it's like look at all of those booths and look at everything they make because there's always going to be one thing in there that you find, and it could be your pet rock for those of you who remember what a pet rock is.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened last year. We went to a show in Ocean City. It was at the convention center, and I had just saw it the day before. And I said, "We're here. Let's go check it out." And so we went and walked, and it was a lot of cheesy kind of souvenir stuff for like the boardwalk. And we were like, "What are we doing here?" But we ended up finding our surfboard puzzles. The coolest couple, they live in New Jersey, which is, pretty close to us. And we were like, this is amazing. They were a new brand, just kind of getting out there doing all the shows. So that was kind of one pet rock that I found.
I love that. Okay,
Yeah,
retailer. It's I mean, because honestly, for the retailers listening, this is going to be a very real thing for everyone. And getting creative and getting around the whole tariff situation and finding different items that you're not going to have this added cost on. This is one of those tricks I think that everyone, it's going to take some time to walk through, but I think also it would be something fun to do that's out of your norm, but to go and find products that are made here that you're not going to get hit with that extra tariff. I think that's fantastic advice.
absolutely. And look on Instagram at local, markets, makers, whatever hashtag you want to put in and see what you find.
I wonder if you just put in your state and then local makers. That's a great suggestion as well. So on the last question, and I try and always remember to ask everybody this question, is where do you find inspiration?
Inspiration is everywhere if you're open to it.
Mhm.
So I think it's kind of a mindset at the same time, but I love to go to the beach, just being by the water. So, for instance, last night I got home and it was kind of sunset, and we live on the bay. So, I went out on my patio and I was planting all my succulents and my flowers. And I said, can I do this every night of my life? Because the weather was perfect, the birds were chirping, the water was just flowing in. I know. And I said, I want to do this every night. I want to work with my hands, be here outside, because as retailers and makers, I'm inside a lot and there aren't windows in the back area of my candle studio. So anytime that I can get outside, I get ideas instantly when I can shut my brain off from the retail and the making and what I have to order and what I have to buy and what I'm doing in my to-do list. It's amazing. So just quiet your mind, go outside, and that's where it happens.
I love that. Tell everybody where they can find you both retail and wholesale.
Okay, so retail, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Shop Boho Bungalow. The candles, it's at Sandy Bottom Candles, Facebook, Instagram, and then sandybottomcandles.com.
And on Fair, is it just listed as Sandy Bottom?
And on Fair, Sandy Bottom Candle Co.
Thank you so much for your time today. This was fantastic. I love a good hustle story more than anything in the world. And it said you are truly the definition of a hustler.
I'm so glad you did this open call. This was a blast, and I hope to get to meet you in person, maybe in
Yes,
Atlanta. Let me know when you're going.
that'd be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.